go back and you can even listen to your own testimony about what God had done for you at that difficult time in the past, and He'll do it again, and He'll do it again, and He'll do it again for you. And the testimony for today is, I had shared, I think, of a few videos up, maybe one or two. It was Christmas Eve this year, so Christmas Eve 2025. Sorry, I was knocking and banging in my car, you probably can't hear. So Christmas Eve 2025, this happened to me, and so it's not too long ago actually, and I had been praying. God had made me really uncomfortable in that season, coming to the end of it, and I was like, Lord, I actually feel really squeezed here. I feel I'm not stretched, I'm being squeezed, and I feel like I'm not coping with this situation, and it was particularly with my finances. And I just prayed, Lord, please, is the time right now that you can release me from this? I know you've been teaching me to steward my money all the past year odd, and I know I'm in this situation for a reason, and I don't see it as negative. But coming before Christmas, I started to feel really squeezed, and I started to not complain. I started to seek God again about it, because all year I'd been praying, or about a year ago before that, I've been praying for the Lord to release me from a credit agreement that I had got into with my car. And the past year He told me to keep the car, so it was a no, we're not getting rid of the car. Those payments were still ongoing, and it was a lot of money, and it was a mistake that I had made foolishly. Got into that credit agreement, and I knew in my heart when I signed it I shouldn't have done it at the time. It was about 2.5 years ago. So I'm still paying this, and God was like, you're keeping the car. But things started to happen before Christmas, and I started to feel very uncomfortable getting squeezed with this payment. It was really preventing me from doing things things for my kids and just things like that. And I started to feel like my money wasn't my own. I wasn't even able to put extra into simple things like a charity box. It was really, I wouldn't say struggling, but it really was quite tight. And I just had got fed up with it. I really had got fed up with it. But I knew, so I was in this season of knowing. I was like, Lord, I know you're having me pay this for a reason. I'm not grumbling about that. But when is the season going to be where I'm going to get released from this? And I started to pray and pray. And it was one of those prayers. I was like, Lord, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this anymore. This is really uncomfortable. I don't like this anymore. And I'm just sick of it. I am sick of this, feeling like this. Accepting that this is all you have for my life, being stuck in these financial situations. And why do I always get in, to this bother? And this is a repetitive cycle in my life, that I just had been released from credit agreements before, and still went back into the same nonsense of getting more credit. Honestly. Anyway, so I started praying and done nothing about it, and I started to hear these words, a last minute miracle, God is last minute miracle for you. And I'd heard so many, probably over November, the end of November to start of December. I didn't really correlate it with my prayers, believe it or not. And and I nearly got to the stage where it was the day before Christmas Eve, and I was like, yeah, right, okay, maybe these words aren't for me, maybe I shouldn't be listening to this. It's doubt again. And before that, my son kept going on about changing my car, and I was like, no, I'm not doing it. And I think I've shared this before in another video. And I got released from that credit agreement. I went up to the car sales, everything, the paperwork was streamlined, it was so easy process. God gave me the extra money to get released out of that, because the last payment was due at a different time and stuff, and I was like, I don't have the money for this. And all this started to fall into place, and then God released my car. So you need to go back and listen to that video. That was a Christmas Eve one, where I was prepping the sprouts, and I shared a load of things about what God had done in my life. and I didn't even pick my car, like the car I'm sitting in now. I actually was like, talk about total surrender. I was like, this is too much brain work for me. If I go up here and I'm getting released from this credit agreement and this is all going so smooth, then I don't want to make a mistake again. I don't want to pick the wrong car. And when I went up to speak to the man, he says, all you need to do, Emma, is pick a car. Pick a car, just pick a car. And he kept saying it, and I could clearly hear Jesus saying, just pick a car. It doesn't matter, Emma. Anyone in this place will do. Because he didn't have big, fancy, expensive cars. There was one or two, and I was like, I don't like them. And I just remember standing there, and the car salesman was going, just pick a car, just pick a car. And I was like, Lord, could you just pick it for me? And at that, he took out his phone, and he was like, I'm about to go pick this up in Belfast. What about that one? And I seen it, and I was like, that'll do. So that was the car that I took. I didn't test drive it, nothing. It was completely affordable, and God picked my car, and it was an import from Japan. So God brought me a car the whole way from Japan. God can do anything. God can do anything, how he likes, when he likes. And as I say before, you know, have you ever heard of Salt Bay, where he does like the last wee bit of salt, and he's like, yeah, and that's how I see God. He's like, you say, like, there's nothing impossible with me, Emma. Why do you doubt? So I'm still hearing this last minute miracle, you know, by the end of December and all this sort of stuff. And I had a lot of debt on a credit card. Again, my financial situation is all from my own stupid desires, pride, spending. And actually, there was things that I'd spent that money on. One thing in particular, it was for my house, and it was a lot of money. And I knew at that time I had just been released out of my credit card. I had got it paid, and I was thinking about doing this home improvement, but I knew in my heart I shouldn't do it because I'd just been released from debt. And you know, when you persevere and you go on, God lets you. He gives you up to your own selfish desires. And I put thousands of pounds onto my credit card for this home improvement. And I was in a lot of financial difficulty because God had stripped the old job and all the overtime and all the agency work. Everything had dried up, and all he wanted me to do, it was so clear, was to work in the job I'm in now. And it was a set wage, and it was enough to pay all my bills, but nothing extra. There was nothing extra. And God sent the ravens to feed me and pay that credit card bill, because I actually didn't have the money for that credit card bill every month, but that money was in my bank account every month by an external source. So I'm like, Lord, I can't keep expecting this external source to pay for this credit card. Like what are we doing? Because I need release from this. It's time. I need release from this. I need supernatural recovery of my finances. I can't do this. Like, this is, I just feel guilty. I feel like this is putting someone else out. I feel like I know why I'm in this debt, but is this the only way that this is going to get paid? Because the interest is still there, and I'm not getting anywhere, Lord. I'm like, you please release me. So I had been praying from a car, got released out of that, and I felt a wee bit guilty asking God for even more. But like, I couldn't see where this money was coming from. It wasn't coming from me, but I knew I needed to get out of this financial situation. And on Christmas Eve, I had thousands of pounds deposited into my bank account. Thousands. And it basically obliterated the majority of my credit card. Gone. And what's left on it is completely affordable, and I can afford to pay that myself every month. Not that God can't wipe it all out, but maybe that was the measure of my faith. I don't know that I got that amount. I still think I have a bit of learning to go, do you know, of stewarding my money. It's not a free ride, but God gave me thousands on Christmas Eve. The last minute miracle was the truth. I got it deposited, and I was able to pay off my credit card bill and be financially free. So that's my testimony about, you know, prayer and having faith and just being really open and honest. And you're like, Lord, I don't know where this is coming from. It's not coming from me. It has to come from you. And the whole year he'd been doing loads of stuff, and I just trusted him so much that I knew if I asked, I would receive it and have faith for it. And he did it. And I remember when I was finding out that money was coming, I was sitting in my bed and I just was like, Lord, thank you so much. Such a relief, such relief. I don't have to rely on that external source anymore, and that's all just done. And I really thank God for helping me, for giving me relief, for helping me, because I didn't know where I couldn't earn that. I couldn't fix it. Yeah. So he can do it for you. He can completely do it for you. He really can. And he's done it for me so many times. That's not the first time God has released thousands of pounds into my hand to pay off debt. It would be the third time. The third time, and I still can't learn. But I'm not doing that anymore. I'm really not doing that anymore. I am fed up. I'm done. And I am going to surrender. I've learned this year to surrender my finances to God. And anytime I need something, I'm like, Lord, do you know how much money is in my bank account? I have this bill. Don't have the money. Don't know where it's coming from. But I trust you that you're going to come through. I trust that I have no choice but to rely on you. He's put me literally in the corner where I have no choice but to rely on him. Now I could go and ask people for money and sort it all out myself, but that's doing it in your own strength. Just pray in the right way and just trust God can come through for you, and he will. He's done it for me. If you're doing it in the right heart and you love the Lord, it says he hears the prayers of his people, and he, for those that love him, and he'll do for those that love him. And it says in James, is it chapter 1? I think it is. Ask and believe that you'll receive it. Have faith. Don't be tossed to and fro like the waves, back and forward, doubting and then faith, doubting and then faith. Just believe in what you ask, God will give you. And that's just where I am now. I'm like, Lord, I don't know how this has happened, but I know you'll come through. And it's not that he's a genie or a magic wand, or we're here to use and abuse him. It's because he knows that you love him. You come with the right heart and you trust him. You have faith, and he sorts it out, because God is a good God. He's a good God, and he looks after his children. And he's looked after me my whole life. Half the time I didn't realise, but especially in the past year I've been very, very aware of it. And I keep these in my memory bank so that I know when the future comes and something's, gonna happen, I just go back into these and I'll play this to myself, and I will remember the goodness of my God in my hard times and my good times, and I will be thankful. Because it says this is the will of God for your life, to be thankful in all circumstances. And he blesses his children, and he does want you to have an easy life, but trials and tribulations will come. And what way are you going to deal with that when they come? And I just need to remember the goodness of God, because he's faithful. And I think I've travelled so long now and understand God's nature and his ways and what he wants for my life, and for me to trust him and just to surrender and leave it to him. It might take him a few days, because he has to use people. And his alignment and everything has to be perfect. So yeah, I challenge you to create a memory bank of the goodness of God. Be thankful for it. Share it with others, because it says through the blood of the Lamb and the word of your testimony, people are brought to Christ. If you don't share these things, they won't know that this is all going on. They won't know the goodness of God, because they're maybe only coming to faith. And sometimes our faith, and they see our faith, then they can, develop their own faith for what God wants for their life. And that's the way that I see this. And I have lots of memories in my memory bank from the past year and a half, actually. And I can't deny that God is real, because how does this happen to me? There's no such thing as chance. God has a destiny for each one of us, and He's a purpose for us, and He sends destiny helpers, people call them, people that release money, people that release their time, people that release their hands to help you, people that release their car so that you can borrow it to get your kids to school. I don't know. He uses people because we live in the physical earth, and that's the sort of things we need help with. And He'll release people to help, in your relationships and mentor. He'll release people to help you with your studies, who have experience in whatever you're studying, and help you with coursework. And He'll release good tutors. He'll release a space on these courses that you need to be on to fulfill your job role. Anything He can do. He'll send people to help you get deliverance if you need deliverance ministry. So just love the Lord, trust Him, and ask, and just sit back and wait for His plan to unfold. And whenever He says go, it's time. And in December it was time for me to release my car, and December, Christmas Eve, it was time for me to be financially released from my credit card debt. And yeah, God is so good. God is good all the time. I'll not stop saying it. So I hope that's helped someone. And that's my testimony for the day. Yeah, make a memory bank. So I'll speak to you again.